Twice this season, Lionel Messi has come off the bench in a match against Real Betis in the Liga action. And twice this season, Barcelona have walked away from the melee with the 3 points. In the last two matches between these two, there were 3 red cards. And with the last 12 months, we've seen a total of 5 goals in one of the matches last year, and then 7 goals in the earlier one this year. So you knew this match was going to have a lot of goals. Looking at the lineup, there was heavy rotation. Almost an indication that Koeman is kind of willing to give up on the Liga. No Messi, no Dest, no Pedri, no De Jong in the starting lineup. Puig playing the Pedri role. But for me, the worrisome thing was Busquets and Pjanic against Real Betis. Betis is a team that, even though Nabil Fekir is not having the best year statistically, still so much of that offense runs through him. Now, Manuel Pellegrini did do Barcelona some favors by not starting Sergio Canales, who is their most important player. He is the Messi of their squad. They also had a number of injuries as well, including Marc Bartra at the back, but more on one of his replacements in a bit. Without Messi in that starting lineup, so much of the attack was going to come through Ousmane Dembele. He was starting on the right, but popping up regularly in the middle, with Griezmann playing off of him. The other thing in the early going I was looking for was Riqui Puig's positioning. When he doesn't play, yes, it's because of competition from Pedri, but I think in the first half of the season, in that 4-2-3-1, Koeman was afraid of his defensive duties, and how if you played him as a double pivot, he was just going to be a bit too out of position defensively, and that means that when you're playing next to Pjanic and Busquets, you can easily be in the wrong position to help them on a counter-attack. But Puig in this 4-3-3 is much, much more comfortable with his defensive responsibilities, and while he didn't offensively wow too much today, I was happy to see where he was on the field, because as much as Barca weren't really getting anything going, 0 shots on target through most of that first half, Real Betis didn't have too much going on offensively either leading up to that goal. And as we mentioned with that goal, kind of knew how it would happen, right? It'd be Barcelona finally taking advantage. In the early going, they only had 50-50 on possession. They finally had some actual pressure around Robles' goal, and eventually a goal for Real Betis. The 1-0 for Real Betis comes. Iglesias scores it. Counter-attack, as we spoke about, right through the middle. Then out to Emerson. Too easy on the cross for Iglesias, and he finishes 1-0. It looks ugly. But my feeling this whole time was that Lionel Messi, just like in the first matchup in November, with him on the bench, ready to come into this game, this was a comeback, I think, waiting to happen. Unlike the one against Granada, where it seemed like a switch was flipped in the 88th minute midweek, where Barcelona were down in the dumps, they weren't moving the ball well. I thought Barcelona, without Messi, were doing enough good things that with him inserted back into the team in the second half, things would change. History, though, disagreed with me. Barcelona had not won at Betis after losing 1-0 at halftime since 1977. None of the players who were on the pitch for today's match were born at that time. Actually, even if Joaquin had come in, he's a 1981 birthday. So even one of the oldest players that La Liga has ever seen, or at least outfield players that La Liga has ever seen, still would not have been born the last time Barcelona had a comeback like this down in Sevilla against Real Betis. Now, 48th minute, a chance for Mingueza, believe it or not, created by Dembele. And Mingueza in this match, he was getting beat over and over and over again as Fekir would start in the middle. And while Iglesias had usually De Jong and Lenglet, because in that first half, De Jong had to come in for the injured, with now dealing with an ankle sprain. We'll see how bad it is, but Araujo had to come off. So Iglesias had the attention of Lenglet. So that allowed Fekir to basically come in, and if De Jong didn't track him, which I don't think he did well at all today, De Jong defensively not too great in the center back position, but Fekir would use De Jong's attention and willingness to want to get into the attack and take possession, and he would slide over to the left just so slightly so that it would create an overload on Mingueza's wing. And Mingueza had a hard time in dealing with that. As we talked about before, his one-on-one defending does struggle, and Real Betis did a pretty good job of exploiting that today. It was Juanmi as well who was exploiting that opportunity. 56th minute, though, it's a mistake by De Jong, and this leads to the Juanmi shot. De Jong just doesn't track him at all in the box, and whether that's the relationship between De Jong and Mingueza, obviously De Jong and Mingueza, right back and center back respectively, isn't necessarily a combination that they're going to work through in training, but there was a communication breakdown, and I think an effort breakdown from De Jong that led to this Juanmi shot. But Barcelona did survive that, so the 57th minute comes along, and it's Messi in for Puig as expected. Trincão also comes in for Pjanic. I didn't know if Trincão was actually going to come into this game, just because he hadn't scored a goal yet. He hasn't really made a difference in any match, and, well, we'll get to that in a second. Messi goal, a few minutes after that. This is one where Robles was beat to his near post, and I almost feel bad for the keeper here. in most instances, and this is the inverse of Granada, when De Jong scored, as we spoke about midweek, Messi came across from the left to the right, and he got that shoulder dip, got the defender on the back foot, got him off balance, got his shot off, and then De Jong was there for the rebound. This time, though, Messi comes from the right corner of the penalty box and dribbling to his left so he can have that shot on his left foot. That's where he's more comfortable with. That's really the patented Messi goal. So instead of getting that shoulder dip to get himself more central, Messi actually releases it pretty quick. Alex Moreno, the left back, did see it coming, but he couldn't get his outstretched leg to it. And that's why I actually take some of the blame off of Robles, because this one sneaks into his near post. But I think using the scouting report, he was prepared for Messi to take that shoulder dip and extra touch and prepare for it to go across his goal. But instead, Messi sneaks it in the side he's not expecting because he got it underneath Moreno, who was shielding his goalkeeper. So that goal by Messi makes it 1-1. The 2-1 comes not too long after that, Messi to Alba to Messi to Alba. And then Griezmann almost takes a goal away, but thankfully, former Espanyol center back in Victor Ruiz, also a journeyman around La Liga, winds up getting the own goal. So Victor Ruiz, the first time he moves to center stage on one of these goals. That would not be his last, because the final 3 goals in this match were all about Victor Ruiz. The 2-2, he winds up getting the equalizer. This one's actually quite simple. A difficult angle for Barcelona to defend, but Busquets committed the foul in a dangerous spot. Either a looped-in shot it could have been, but instead it's just lobbed perfectly, and Busquets gets out-jumped by Victor Ruiz. Not too much to analyze here, other than the fact that if Ronald Araujo doesn't get injured, that's him in that position, because De Jong, it works down the pecking order. Lenglet then has to worry about Borja Iglesias. That means that Busquets now has to worry about Victor Ruiz. And as you know with Busquets, he can be beaten by a superior player on aerial duels. 77th minute comes, Busquets off, Umtiti on. Looked like it could have been 2-2, but I still felt like a winner could be coming. I said it was going to be Messi, but I was wrong, because it was actually the first Barcelona goal in his career for Trincão. And the catalyst for this is the fact that with Busquets coming off and Umtiti coming on, that pushes De Jong back into the midfield. So De Jong, for the first time in the match, is willing to make that run into the box, which indeed is what he does. Messi looking for De Jong, but it's cleared out. And off the feet of Victor Ruiz, Trincão just picks it right up, and that touch that he takes it off the feet of Ruiz sets him up perfectly to take that left-footed shot where he is comfortable. So finally, Trincão, and this winner by Trincão is a shot that I saw aplenty when he was playing for Braga. This is actually the perfect situation, what he wants, and we often see for Barcelona these Trincão shots, something like this, but because it came helter-skelter, usually when he takes a shot, the goalkeeper is ready for it and the defender is out and covering, but he kind of just popped up, took it off of an unsuspecting defender, and Robles had no shot. Trincão definitely got his laces behind this one, and I'm really happy for the Portuguese winger. As we've been talking about, this goal, we've been building up to this moment for Trincão, and finally it's come, and I do hope that this jumpstarts something new. I wouldn't expect any other goals from him this year, but for the remainder of the season, if you can get 2 or 3 more out of him, I'd say that's okay. It was his first season in Barcelona. You really don't necessarily want to see Trincão have his confidence completely destroyed for an entire season and then wind up getting shipped out over the summer because of wages and blah, 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 blah. So if Messi scores a goal, you don't really overhype it. You don't say, hey, that's the difference between him going or him staying. But for a player like Trincão, this goal could mean everything. You could see what this meant for his teammates and the 3 points. And a risky move with Koeman with this starting lineup. But hey, they got the 3 points. You had Messi in your back pocket. So I'm not really going to compliment Koeman on the substitutes. When you have Messi on the bench, it's a good idea to put him in a game that's still hanging in the balance. But getting it right with the Umtiti on and Busquets off and changing De Jong's position at that moment in the competition, I think was really important. And also still trusting in Trincão, obviously. He gets the winner, so you have to say Koeman got his substitutes right. And the reason there was so much rotation, we know why it was. Wednesday against Sevilla in the first leg of the quarterfinals of the Copa del Rey. We hope to have a podcast in between now and then, so look out for that. But in the meantime, Forza Barça.